Hello and welcome to this presentation from Pluralsight. My name is Andrew Mallett and I'm here to help you through this module, Discovering BetterFS. We can say BTRFS, but it's just a whole lot easier to say BetterFS. And this is all part of our LPI Level 2 certification, and in particular we're looking at Objective 203.2, Maintaining a Linux File System. For this objective though, you only need an awareness of BTRFS, but we'll probably look a little bit more detail so we know both what it is and how we're going to use it. For our lab setup, we're using CentOS 7. The system is virtualized and we have 2 additional unpartitioned virtual drives. So we already have SDA and SDB, but we've added in 2 additional drives, SDC and SDD. And you will see that we don't really need to be concerned with creating partitions when we're dealing with the BetterFS. When we're looking at the BetterFS, we're going to have an overview, so understanding what it is and where it comes from. We'll be looking at the package that includes all of the necessary tools, the BetterFS-progs package. We'll be creating a simple file system and having a look at the underlying technology that sets up BetterFS, the cow or copy on write. And we'll move into logical volume management, which is an integral part of BetterFS, and seeing how simple it is to extend volumes across onto new disks or partitions. We'll also see how we can look at disk space within the BetterFS. Especially when we start using some of the inbuilt RAID features, just because we've got 2 drives doesn't mean that we've got twice as much disk space. So we've got particular tools that we can use that will display the available space. One of the advantages of the BetterFS is a fast file system creation. When we're looking at the BetterFS and we start looking at some of the history, originally this was really born out of ideas from the Riser file system, and again it only laid part of the metadata down, waiting for files to be created to actually start marking out the disk as required. We've got the ability to create point-in-time snapshots, and these can be read-only or read-write snapshots. We can extend up to 16 exabytes. We've got inbuilt RAID and logical volume management as part of the file system itself. One of the main developers is Chris Mason, who originally started with the Riser file system team at SUSE and then was hired by Oracle to start development on file systems there. And that's where he really came up with the idea or concept of the BetterFS. If necessary, we're going to need to install the BTRFS-progs package. In Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7, BTRFS is marked as a technology preview, so it's not fully supported. Although in SUSE Enterprise Linux 11, BTRFS has been included as the default file system since SLES 11 Service Pack 2. We can run the program BTRFS ---- version. Obviously, if we can't find the program, then we're going to get an error. So we can then go through and install the BTRFS-progs package. Once we have that, we can then go through and create a new file system. And as we mentioned ourselves earlier, we can go through and partition up the disk if we want, but there's no real need to partition up the disk. So we can just go through mucfs.btrfs and then the disk or partition that we want to use. The file system check utility is going to be btrfs check. And we can then go through and check the integrity of that drive. Remember, we've only just created the file system, so we're not really expecting any issues with the file system at this stage. We can create a mount point should it be required. And then, of course, we can mount the file system to our mount point. We can see then how the file system is made up using BTRFS and the subcommand file system show, or we're able to shorten that to FI show and then the device or partition. So let's move out now to our file system and take a look on CentOS 7 at creating a BTRFS file system.